This presentation will deal with chapters 28 and 29 in Dr. Thom Rainer's book, The Book of Church Growth. We will cover three principles of church growth: assimilation, reclamation, and small groups. Now, what will you learn? You will learn 5 strategies for assimilation. You will learn the percent of members a church loses each year. You will also learn some suggestions for reclaiming inactive members. And last, several advantages of the small group. In your textbook, The Book of Church Growth, you will find chapter 28 covers assimilation, reclamation, and church growth. We're going to talk about how we can close the back door today. How can the back door of the church be closed so we don't lose those who enter by way of the front door or church membership? According to Gary McIntosh and Glenn Martin, in their book Finding Them, Keeping Them, there are 5 strategies for assimilation. Number 1, friendship with other church members. Lyle Schaller, perhaps the very first church consultant and church growth expert, says that there is considerable evidence which suggests that at least 1/3 and perhaps as many as 1/2 of all Protestant church members do not feel a sense of belonging to the congregation of which they are members. They have been received into membership, but have never felt they have been accepted into the fellowship circle. This poses a serious issue for us, to help people not only join the church, but discover friends there. Number 2, new members should become involved in ministry in the church. It is important to invite the laity to be involved in ministry as soon as possible after membership. Rainer writes, and I quote, "Ministry involvement, real ministry involvement, is a key to assimilation." Close quote. Number 3, small groups of approximately 10 people assist in the assimilation process. Sunday school classes can function as small groups, but only if their enrollment is approximately 10 people. Thom Rainer believes that small groups work best in non-church locations. We will talk further about small groups in this presentation. Number 4, the importance of vision cannot be overstated as an important way to close the back door. Vision makes people feel like they are a part of something bigger than they are. They feel like a team member helping to advance the congregation toward meaningful fulfillment of the vision. And then number 5, the final key to assimilation is spiritual growth. The deeper the level of discipleship, the more likely assimilation is to take place. I would raise a question here. Since most of our churches do a poor job of disciple making, could that explain one of the reasons we have such a difficult time assimilating new members? They are not developing spiritually, and therefore are not connecting to the congregation. Just a thought. This slide focuses on reclamation. That word may not be familiar to you. It just simply means reclaiming those who drop out. In a given year, 11% of the membership may be lost. That's a staggering number. Every year, 11% of membership may be lost. It can be broken down in this way. 2% likely will die. 3% will move away or transfer their membership to another congregation. And as many as 6% are lost to reversion. Reversion meaning they just simply go back to a way of life. They revert back to a way of life that does not include the church. Reclaiming those who have drifted away is very difficult. Rainer suggests that reclamation is the most difficult type of outreach. Now, why do people become inactive? Well, on our next slide, we will examine that question. It has been said that Southern Baptists are the largest non-Catholic Protestant denomination in the United States of America. What is the second largest non-Catholic denomination in America? Well, some wag has said it's inactive Southern Baptists. He may be right. Why do people become inactive? Well, number one, some negativity usually precedes the leaving of an individual from the congregation. This negativity may be a conflict with another church member. However, the majority of dropouts just walk away because they feel they were never included in the circle of fellowship in the first place. It's a difficult task to convince them that the church still cares and that they need to return to the congregation. In an attempt to reclaim these individuals, one must be prepared. You will hear anger and pain and hurt expressed from these dropouts. Number two, some may just become indifferent. They may not have negative feelings toward the church, they're just indifferent. These are easier to reclaim than the first category. The reason is that they are not hostile, or they don't have hurt feelings. They have just become apathetic toward the church. They do not feel the church is that important for them among all the other activities they're involved with. Now, how can we reclaim these individuals? Well, on the next slide, we'll examine that question. On the previous slide, we talked about the fact that two reasons individuals drop out of the church and become inactive are, number one, some negativity usually precedes their leaving, and then second, they may become indifferent to the church. Now, how can we reclaim these individuals who have become inactive? Well, number one, a systematic effort to visit inactive members. Those who do this, however, should be trained and prepared for an encounter with anger, pain, and indifference. They should listen more than they talk. They should communicate that the church cares for them. Number two, with an indifferent member, a key to reclamation is finding some area of the church toward which the inactive person may not feel indifferent at all. Perhaps they might be convinced that their children need Christian education, and a place of common interest can be centered around the children's ministry of the church. If their children get involved, then it is possible that the parents will follow. I remember a bus ministry story that I was involved in. One Saturday I was visiting in the community, attempting to enlist children to ride our Sunday school bus the next Sunday morning. There was a young boy named Brian. Brian very much wanted to attend church with us, and so I asked his father if he could come. And his dad said yes, that would be fine. Brian rode the first Sunday, had a great time, and he came for 4 straight weeks. And then the 5th week, Brian was absent. I called his dad to see why Brian was not on the bus that particular Sunday. I wanted to see what the situation was. Paul said, "My son will not be riding the church Sunday school bus anymore." And I said, "Paul, what have we done to make you feel this way?" He said, "You haven't done anything except bring conviction to my heart. I've learned through this experience that you people at the church care more for my child than I do." We found a place to connect with him, and he and his wife both were saved not too many months after this story. Number 3, small groups may be a good re-entry point for the indifferent. Again, we will talk about small groups in the next slide. Number 4, it should be noted that inactive members may not be Christians at all. Therefore, evangelistic opportunities may be found among the inactive that find themselves on our church roll. For some time, small groups have been seen as a method that can help increase spiritual growth, outreach, accountability, assimilation, and church growth. The Sunday school is the preferred small group in most Southern Baptist churches. However, it does appear, as stated earlier, that small groups work best in a non-church location. What strengths do small groups meeting away from the church campus have over, for example, the Sunday school? Well, here are some advantages. Number 1, a lack of space restrictions. Small groups can meet in homes, offices, schools, or anywhere people gather. This is a decided advantage. The unchurched might be intimidated by a big church building or even a small one, but would be more inclined to meet with others in a neutral location. Number 2, Small groups help develop deeper levels of trust that help participants share their feelings and their emotions. Sunday school seems, by its very nature, to be a place to gain more head knowledge. The small group, on the other hand, seeks to develop a place where sharing is encouraged and intimacy and trust can be developed. Number 3, small groups promote ministry opportunities and develop friendships among the members of the group. These two factors, ministry opportunities and friendship, are the two most important ingredients in assimilating new members. If attendance is consistent in a small group before one joins a church, the assimilation process has already begun. Number 4, small group members can provide excellent pastoral care. Small group facilitators and group members alike can and often do provide excellent pastoral care. One reason for this is that the small group is a manageable unit. The task is not overwhelming. Small groups will be a viable method of church growth, outreach, assimilation, and pastoral care for the foreseeable future. In our highly impersonal society, where individuals are lumped together as just another number, the personal touch of the small group will continue to have appeal.